So what we need to do is place our wax strip on the area that's been waxed. We need to rub it to embed the hair and to get it to stick to the area. Now when you are removing it, it is going to be removed along itself. So along itself like that. It is not going to be pulled up off the arm or you will bruise the area. The other thing you need to watch is when you put the wax strip on the area that's been waxed, that you don't put it all the way to the end or you're going to have nothing to hold on to. So just place it so that you've got a little bit at the end that you can grab onto to hold on to. Embed the hair, take your little free edge and we're going to pull along itself. But we are going to pull it very quickly, like that. It is a little bit like removing a band-aid. The quicker you go, the less it hurts. You'll get a sting for a second or so, but if you pull too slowly, it is very painful for the client. So just once more, we're going to place the wax strip onto the area that's been waxed, embed the hair, grab our little free edge, and pull quickly along itself. Before we actually get to putting the wax onto the body, we just need to practice with the spatula, removing it from the wax pot and taking it over to the body. So dipping into the wax, you're going to wipe all of the wax off one side and just off the tip of the other side, and then you're going to twist all the way from the wax pot to the area that's being waxed. If you don't twist, what will happen is you'll wipe your wax off and then all the way over you're going to get dripping, so you're going to have a lot of mess to clean up. So just before we go, just a little bit of practice taking it all off one side, a little bit off the top of the next side and twisting. Now we'll apply it to our arm. So it's twisting all the way from the wax pot to the area to be waxed. Place it on the arm and one long, slow movement to get that wax nice and thin on the arm. Now we're going to take our wax strip and we're going to leave a little bit at the end, not in the wax, to grab onto, and we're going to embed the wax and the hair in the wax strip. And remember, we're going to pull it along itself, but we're going to pull extremely quickly. Now this is very good practicing on yourself. Even though you don't have hair on the inside of your arm, you will feel the difference between pulling quickly and slowly. So grabbing our free end and removing quickly. And then we're going to move up the arm and get the next little bit, grabbing our free end and removing quickly. Then you will just go along. We've got some excess wax that hasn't been picked up, and just keep repeating the process. Rubbing and removing. We'll now cover the consistency of the hot wax. Now the wax needs to be about the same consistency as honey, otherwise it will be too hot. So if it's running off your spatula quickly, it's too hot. That's about the right consistency. Now the next thing you need to do before you actually apply it to a client is just to test a little bit on your own wrist. Now that should not sting. It should feel warm or even a little bit hot, but if it stings, then it means that the wax is too hot and it's probably going to burn your client. So just check every time you start a new client, check that on your wrist first. Again, when you're removing it from the wax pot and getting it to your client, you need to twist the spatula. And you have to do that all the way from the wax pot to your client. If you don't, when you scoop the wax out, again, this is what's going to happen. It's just going to drip all over the floor. So get used to taking your wax out on the spatula and just turning that spatula until it gets to your client. It will also cool the wax down a little bit if it is a little bit too hot straight out of the pot before it gets to your client. So that's what you need to practice first. Next thing we need to do is just practice making our patches. So again, on the back of your hand, because there won't be any hair there, we're just going to practice spreading the wax and making a nice even patch and controlling that wax so that you know what to do when you're working on a client. So we're just making a nice even patch. Now you can see that that's pretty much the same thickness from one side to the other. If you've got thin bits, which we've just got a little bit of a thin bit up here, but it's not too bad, it's likely that the wax will break. So once you've got your patch to the right consistency, you're just going to push down with your fingers to make sure that it's dry enough, and it will also embed the hair. You're then going to just hook a little bit up at one end to make a lip, something for you to grip onto. And then exactly the same as the strip wax, you're going to actually pull it back against itself rather than pulling up, because it will bruise the skin. And in one quick movement, you're just going to pull it off the skin, and then you're going to apply just a little bit of pressure with your fingers just to stop the stinging a little bit. So we'll just go over that one more time. We're going to take the wax out of the pot. We're going to turn the spatula all the way to the bed, to the client. Then we're going to put it onto the area to be waxed in a nice, smooth patch. You can just keep playing. It's quite workable for about 30 or 40 seconds. So you can just keep going until it's nice and smooth, making sure that it's even all the way around and you've got plenty at whichever end you need to make your little lip. Now, if it is a little bit hot and it's taking a bit to dry, you can always give it a little fan with your hand. Okay, so it's got to be not like that. That is not dry enough to remove it. What will happen if you try and take it off while the wax is like that, it will stretch like chewing gum and it won't come off the skin. So it's got to be dry enough that you can push your fingers into it without getting it on your own finger. And then again, we're just going to make a little lip at one end, grab it and remove, and then just place your fingers on to the skin for a moment. So once you've got the hang of making your neat patches, you then have to remember that as with the strip wax, the wax is to go on in the direction of the hair growth and be pulled off against the direction of the hair growth. So again, just taking a small amount of wax. We're going to assume that we've got hair on this hand that's going down. Taking our wax, twisting our spatula, starting at the top, we are going to go down with the wax and then make our patch nice and even. Once you've got the wax on the hair, it doesn't matter that you're going around in circles, but the initial spread does need to go down with the hair growth. So again, we've got our patch on nice and evenly. We've put it on in the direction of the hair growth, so we will be removing it against the direction of the hair growth, making sure that our hair is embedded, making a lip, and removing swiftly, and then turning the wax over just to pick up any little excess bits. I'll just quickly show you what will happen if you try and remove the wax before it is dry enough. So placing a patch if you were to wait only that long and you tried to remove it, you will get your little lip, but you'll get stretching like that. It won't actually come off, it will just keep stretching like chewing gum. So it is important that you wait until it is totally dry. Now the opposite to not waiting long enough is to leave it on for too long and letting it become too brittle, and then when you try and remove it, it will just break. So don't go away and answer the phone or do anything else, because if you come back and it's been on for too long, it will have become too brittle for you to remove. Now, if that does happen for any reason, all you need to do is just take a little bit more wax and just go over the whole patch again, and this will soften the wax underneath again and melt it down a little bit. Again, making your wax patch nice and even. So just go over it again and embed the old brittle wax. Wait until it's dry, and then it should all be removed. And again, just turn over your patch and pick up any excess. So now we've learned how to control the wax, we will begin with a half leg wax to start with.